Sir Kieran Culkin. They were actually standing for me.
You can't just knight somebody.
I know.
You just call me sir. It's just not, you don't have the authority. My wife is English. She's probably pissed right now.
No, she's really excited about
Yeah.
it. She's like,
I've been knighted, honey.
It's royalty.
Mookie throughout.
Wait, raise your hand if you know who Mookie is. Mookie is nowhere to run. That is my Kieran Culkin introduction.
That's your
That is
JCVD movie?
That's
All right.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I always got kids with weird names. Fuller, Mookie, Buster. There's a Biddle in there, but nobody's seen that movie. There's some weird names out there. Well, I just ruined your momentum.
No. I'm trying because I know you're such a huge fan of compliments and people.
Don't
just
do it. Just
throw
ask
around.
a good question.
No, what you do
Q&A.
here, Q&A. My question for you is, what you do here is really, really remarkable. And the movie is a lot about trauma. And Sterling K. Brown once told me, not to name drop, but he told me you can be universal in being specific. This
Who
movie,
said this? Sorry.
Sterling K. Brown,
Oh, wow.
he was on This Is Us and American Fiction, great man. And because this movie, while it's about the Jewish experience and two cousins, you can apply this to any culture that's gone through trauma and group, and I love it so much. But was that all on the page? Did you find that immediately when you started shooting?
Yeah, I mean, it was all on the page, and I mean, I think more of that is a question for Jesse. To me, I read it, connected with the character, and just wanted to play him. I understood this dynamic right away, and I just wanted to get in there and play. But for like Jesse, I think what he was trying to do, or what he succeeded in doing, is like showing that these characters who have their own pain. Like his character David has had anxiety and issues with depression, whatever, but he's found his way through that. Benji has probably a large list of issues that he hasn't quite figured out. He's the kind of guy who hasn't figured it out, but he's basically like trying to say that these guys have this pain, and he was trying to figure out how to write the story. And I guess when he thought about his story about why he decided to write it about it being in Poland and the Holocaust story was he saw an ad while he was writing this. He saw an ad line that said Auschwitz.
That's an internet ad? Or?
An internet ad.
Oh, see?
An internet it was.
Very
That
good.
said, it was like Auschwitz Holocaust tour with lunch. And he was like, oh my god, that's it, that's the movie. And he put those characters in it because he felt like the backdrop of seeing this kind of trauma that was within the family, he was like, is this real pain, and does that validate your own, or are they both real? He's like, I don't have an answer to the question, but it's the question he put out there.
Awesome. Let me take you back in time for a moment. The year is 1987. You're 5 years old, I believe. Did you think that one day you would be sharing the screen with Frances Baby Houseman from Dirty Dancing, and she would look exactly the same as she does from then, and you get to share the screen with Jennifer Grey, who, very supporting role, but so effective, and I can only imagine what that drinking was like with Benji and the character that we don't get to see on screen when you're missing in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
What was it like working with her?
Oh, she's incredible. She is so much fun. But yeah, in 1987, I pretty much knew it. just to aid that cue. No, she was awesome. Actually, it's funny you asked about what happens with those characters. You brought it up. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I have sort of my own ideas. I think they just. I think Oh, whatever. I'll not bore you. I'm gonna keep it to myself. Shut up. Right. Moving on.
A lot of this, the movie starts and ends with Benji, and we don't get. We are learning of Benji through David's eyes. In many ways, the film feels to me as Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh, cool.
In a lot of ways.
I love that movie.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Go watch it if you haven't watched it. But
Watch it.
it's we don't know a lot about Benji outside of what we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know more about Benji than we know that maybe didn't make the final cut or that was on the page?
Probably. I mean, it was my job for a while there, so yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't know. Like, people have asked, like, sort of what happens with him after, or is he going to be okay or something? And I sort of have my own thoughts about that, but I try not to, I don't know, express them. I don't know. I'll keep that to myself. But Jesse said an interesting thing about it once, which was like, his character David leaves him at the airport, and his idea, he was like, maybe this is what it is. He goes, the last shot is actually sort of what is going on in David's mind, because he doesn't want him to leave the airport because he's afraid of what might happen to him or where his life's going. So he's like, to him, like, unless he's with Benji, he only exists like at the airport.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. Yeah.
It's very Inception.
Or what?
It's very Inception.
Yeah. Yeah. Take it literally.
Yeah. So you won't share with us if Benji's okay or not.
I don't know. What do you think?
I mean,
There's my cue, bitch.
yeah.
Where's your ring?
I mean, in many ways, I think yes, but then I'm also like,
Call back. That was. Some people were at the thing earlier. It's water. He didn't spike my drink.
I mean, in many ways, I think he's all right, but then in other ways, I think it goes down to what Benji says the first time on the train. Like, bad things happen, and when there's this conflict about how we pay attention to bad things, maybe he's not okay in the end, and maybe that's like the tragedy of it. But it's weird because we laugh so much in the movie, but it's also
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously not okay, like as a person, but yeah, who is? I'm fine.
Yeah, I have a fun question. let me go to a fun question. I love Benji's hoodies. He has the best hoodies in this.
Thanks.
I mean, it's costume design and it's contemporary. I think people just think, oh, you put on clothes. But there is, like, they do speak to, like, a lot of things that he's feeling in a moment. Was that, did you get to pick out clothes and
The
outfits?
clothes were like a accident that just happened from like a way too long fitting that we did, where all three of us, costume designer, myself, and Jesse, had three very different ideas of what he would wear, and we ended up with nobody's idea. We just sort of threw some shit together, and eventually I just sort of sat on the floor and I kind of got depressed because I always forget that I have to pick clothes. And I'm like, oh, we're supposed to shoot tomorrow, and now I have to pick, I don't know what he wears, and it just bums me out because I don't want the wrong thing. I want to put thought toward it, but it's just such a bummer. I wish it could just be automatic, like, put him in a uniform, I don't want to think about it. And then, like, when someone provides an idea, I'm like, that's not him at all. No, that's not him either. Well, then what do you have? I got nothing, I don't know. Like, it's not that or that. And we just sort of, like, messed together this thing of just, like, the shoes were really uncomfortable and they had holes at the bottom, and they're like, we can fix them up. I was like, no, I think he hasn't bought shoes in a while. And these are probably his old clothes, and he dresses for comfort, he's traveling.
Yeah. The scene at the statues is quite heartwarming, and it's very, there's so many things layered within it. Obviously, things that David is feeling, watching all this happen, the way you're able to get this joy out of a tragic situation that people are, reflecting upon, was just as much fun to shoot and get into it.
It was the only.
Your poses are great, by the way.
The poses,
Great
yeah, you improvise that. Such a stupid. I actually wanted to say that, outing my wife about this, before my wife and I met, she thought that, like, she was like, why do actors, like, get credit for things? Like, she thought, like, directors told the actor how to pose, or how to sit, or how to say the words, so she would have thought that, like, those poses were, like, directed. Not funny? I'm calling you out, Jess, hurry. Defend yourself. Oh, she left. She's gone. Sober now? Yeah, that was fun. That was the only thing he wanted to rehearse was that statue thing. We went like a day before we started shooting because he set aside like 3 hours to rehearse that. And I kind of thought like, why are we rehearsing this? We did like 15 minutes and he was, I think he was fine to be like, I kind of was like, can we just go up there and do it because it shouldn't be so specific by the numbers. I think we just go up there and we play and I call the people out and it's all there in the script and we just do it and you shoot it. Just really oversimplifying what filmmaking is, by the way. That's all it is. Go out there, do the thing, and somebody film it. The end. But it was pretty. But yeah, it actually worked out pretty well, I think, that night.
Well, one of my favorite parts of the film, and I know you don't want to talk about yourself, so I'm going to let you talk about Jesse Eisenberg.
Love talking about him.
I know, but the dinner scene in which you leave the room and then Jesse Eisenberg gives that great monologue at the dinner table. Were you watching him perform that from the side?
I had to, almost every take I tucked behind a corner so I could listen to it. I couldn't really see it. I was basically suppressing burps the whole time because, and he bastard cut it. He had me chugging non-alcoholic beers, and he cuts the chug. It looks like I just take a sip and then just burp uncontrollably. The whole point was I would say something and then chug the whole beer, making the whole table watch me drink this whole thing, put it down, and then burp, I have to pee. So I kept doing that, so I'm hiding behind a corner and he's giving this emotional monologue, crying, and I'm sitting there going, just shut up, take a break so I can burp, or just like fuck up or something, so I just gotta let this burp out. So anyway, that's the emotional journey I went on.
So you performed your own burps?
Yes, I do. Yeah, summer improv.
Yeah. People are impressed with Tom Cruise. We have Kieran Culkin, the next stuntman, doing his own burps. That's what we like to see.
Call the burp guy for me. It's water.
There is a really beautiful, tender moment, and a lot can be done with an actor with what he's saying, but a lot with what he doesn't say. And there's a moment after you guys wake up after the first night, your acting sleep is very peaceful looking. Is that how you really sleep?
I thought it was paid.
No,
that's not the script anyway. All right, I didn't succeed in my mission. Yes, I do sleep like that.
But the way you're coming down the escalator when Jesse Eisenberg looks back, like you have this look on your face that, for me, I was like, oh my god, like there's 1,000 things happening.
That was on the script, great.
Oh.
That was it. So Jesse, God, I'm talking to him. He likened the relationship he had with me. He's like, you know when directors fall in love with like their actor, their ingénieur or something like that? And he was like, that's what I was feeling for Kieran. I remember because on that day he ran up to me and touched my face and went, I think I love you. Okay, let's get back on the escalator and film it. Shut up.
Would you like to publicly apologize to Will Sharpe for yelling at him so much in this movie?
No, I wouldn't. That's so much fun. I had no idea how that scene was gonna like come out. And there were different takes had very different temperatures. Sometimes I would just go up to him and just sort of be like, look, I just have a note for you, and sort of, and you would see him kind of squirm and try to like. There were sometimes he would be walking away, so I'd follow him. And there was one time where I was yelling at him so hard, he started backing up. He ended up behind the tombstone and kind of covered his whole body with the tombstone because he just couldn't take it. It was really fun to watch him squirm. And sometimes he fought back, and that would just make me like go, you know. And it felt totally like I got it at the time, but while doing it, I was like, I'm perfectly justified in this. He's talking too much, and he's not giving me the experience that not me, but David signed up for. And it felt like fine, and then I see the movie, I'm like, somebody punch that fucking guy in the face. Shut him up. It's tough.
Jesse Eisenberg says it perfectly also at the dinner table. He says, I love him and I hate him. That's really how we feel in the movie. Like, I love Benji so much, but I also like hate him and want to choke him. But,
good, that makes sense.
but there's also so many, like, I think a lot of us will like to think we're more like David when we're probably more like Benji. And I think that's probably a thing we have to accept within ourselves.
You should be speaking for everybody. That'd be a you thing. You should.
Do you think you're anything like Benji?
There's more. Yeah, I'm definitely not like David. So yeah. If I have to pick a lean, then yes. Yeah. There was one when I was saying like I wanted somebody to punch him in the face. There was a scene that we did. I brought this up earlier, but there was a scene where we were eating soup, talking about Marsha,
And it was, for whatever reason, it was my favorite scene on the page, and I was really excited to do it. I don't know why. And I don't want to analyze it or think about it. Let's just do the scene, and it was great, you know. And I had no perspective on it. It wasn't until I watched it that I realized what was happening in the scene, which is just like, it's this nice moment. Cousins are starting to connect, and David's asking his questions, and he's finally interested in something. And Benji goes, I'm going to take control of this. And he bullies and makes the whole thing, just takes it away from David, and just bullies to go like, I'm in charge of this actually, and you're going too far. No, I know, but we just shouldn't be talking about it. That's a bullying asshole move. It seemed like at the time, because I'm, playing the character, so I'm, protecting the character. I feel like I'm protecting my friend. That's what it feels like. But really, he's being a jerk. Somebody punch him.
Final question for you. You're in a room full of SCAD students. You can scream it through from SCAD.
Two of you out there? Cool.
I think I saw your wife scream. I think she's gonna echo. She's back in college. A lot of them want to be artists. They want to do stuff that you do. Get to express yourself, express themselves. And you're living their dream. Got a piece of advice for them so they can be like Kieran Culkin when they grow up?
No, you told me you were going to ask this, and I should have thought of an answer. I don't. Because I would just be like, don't take advice from people. Just really bad advice, so don't take it. Yeah, because I got What would you do? Would you give any advice? Come on.
Don't be like me.
Don't be like you. You're a total Benji.
Yeah. So mean. Just gave you so many compliments. No, listen, seriously. Good acting. Good.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you, President Wallace. Thank you to SCAD Savannah Film Festival. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, your virtual award winner.